Hello, champions. Hey, what kind of a leader are you committed to being? Question of the day. If you don't know me, I'm Coach Tina. I am the founder of the Empowering Champions community, and I come on live every Monday to kind of share some motivation, something going on in my life that I think could be beneficial to think about in your life. And today, the topic on my mind is leadership mastery. Now, hi, Dorothy, I see you here. If you're watching live, go ahead and put #live in the comments. If you're catching us on the replay, put replay in as well. Would love to know who's catching up with us each week. This community is designed for women who believe they are champions, but yet might not be at the level that they were hoping they would be at this point in their life. Happens to all of us, and my job is to encourage and help you and support you and empower you to get your greatness out into the world. So let's talk about leadership mastery, and I'll tell you in a little bit why it's the topic today. But there are 3 levels, and there's another one as well. There's always another level, but we're going to talk about the 3 levels of leadership mastery. And the first, no surprise, I'm sure, is that you need to be able to lead yourself. You cannot influence others if you do not have the confidence within yourself that you can keep your commitments, that you can have the discipline to move forward. A lot of people that struggle in this area, like let's just say procrastination. Okay, if you're having procrastination struggles, this is because you are filled with self-doubt and probably have low self-worth or self-esteem. So if that's you, then that's the area where you need to get started. It's the first level of leadership mastery. And guess what? You're a pretty easy contact, meaning that you can find yourself, right? You can work with yourself. You can talk to yourself. You can get yourself out of any self-doubt just by taking some easy steps. Because the second one, that's influencing another person, someone outside of you. And, yeah, it can be a form of coaching. It can be parenting. It can be your spouse. Those are all not the best first options for influencing another person, because there's a lot of things that go along with those inner close relationships. But can you influence positively a friend, someone in your community? We all, I believe, have influence over people. And this is about leading another person to follow in your footsteps. So if you can do that, you have reached leadership mastery level 2. And then level 3 is being able to lead groups of people to an outcome. One of the things we do in this community is we look at what do we want to accomplish in our life? What are our dreams? What are our hopes? Where are we trying to take ourselves in this life? I call it my destination for greatness, right? When we look at that on that big picture scheme, and then we break it down and take it down into small steps. Each month, we're looking at kind of the big picture and then bringing it down to what can I do right now in this month to make things work. And as we near the end of the month of July, hey, it's summer, I get it. But a lot of us, if you don't take that summer gap and instead put energy into each month of the year, you get huge rewards over time. It may not seem like it every day, but as life continues, you're going to notice it and it's going to be beneficial. So let's do that together, right? Let's get out there and do things to work with our groups, to work with larger and influence on a bigger scale. Because what is a leader? A leader, obviously, is someone who leads. When I wrote that down, what came to mind was like the line leader when we were in school, when we were young. Like there was that person who wanted to be in the front of the line, and they were great But they had that personality that said, I am going to go up front. So are you that personality? Did it come natural for you? Or were you more introspective, maybe stood back and watched? I had the interesting opportunity in my lifetime in that I grew up with a last name that started with a W. And so I was at the end of the alphabet. And anybody that was in school in my era, most of what we did was last name order. And so I was always at the back of a line. And now when I look back on that, I realize that I was taking my observation skills. I would be watching what everybody was doing in front of me. And then by the time it was my turn, because I was usually almost at the end of the line, I would feel very self-conscious about how I was going to perform. Now, I don't necessarily believe in performance-based lifestyle, but that's kind of what we have these days. And so I was an anxious young person. Well, in my mid-20s, I married a man, and my last name then started with a B. B as in the second letter of the alphabet. And I really didn't think much of it, young and in love. Well, we had a ceremony, and we were in the military, and he was getting his wings, and he wanted me up on stage with him to put his wings on. So I was freaking out because guess what happens when your last name starts with a B? We were first in line. And I didn't know what to do. I was used to a lifetime of seeing what everybody did in front of me and then following suit. And so I said, how can we do this? We don't know what to do. And he said, well, you're at the front of the line. Whatever you do, all the people in the back are going to follow. And I thought, what is this world? I did not know that was a thing. I didn't recognize it until it was said. Talk about a breakthrough, right? And now, that was after 25 years as a B, I became a G. And now I wouldn't say that's the middle of the alphabet, but it's definitely far enough in that I have a different perspective. And how cool is it that I have been given all of these different viewpoints into life? So it's really about your take on what a leader is and your willingness to step into the uncomfortableness of being a leader when it calls for it. Some of us also kind of have a roles-based plan in life. What do I mean by that? Well, I became an officer at a certain point in my life in the military, and I liked being in the role, right? Because the role had rules and something like a checklist I could follow. This is how I'm supposed to act in that environment. Well, contrast that with the worker bee or the enlisted person, right? You have the officer and then you have the enlisted person because that's how rank and file works in the military. And the enlisted person is more of the worker bee. In fact, if you accidentally called a staff sergeant or someone, sir, they would say, excuse me, I work for a living. Don't call me sir. And so we have very defined roles that we like to be. Well, can you step into a role, even if it's one that you're making up for yourself? Like in the Tony Robbins world, we have persona names that we create for all the areas of our life. And then you step into that persona. Let's say you're working on your finances and you can be the financial diva or the healthy, sexy 60-year-old, whatever it is. When you step into that role, you know the responsibilities, you know what you need to do. And so you step into the role. So why not step into the role of leader? I know that when I was teaching, but I was teaching in a non-classroom environment. And the first classroom assignment that I got, that was a big deal to me because it felt real after doing so much with the non-traditional ways of doing school. And I remember distinctly because while I had started teaching in a classroom about the time of Columbine, I didn't go back into the classroom until it was 2013. And the crazy thing is we had just had the Sandy Hook school shootings. And I remember when taking that assignment and being in front of these beautiful little sixth graders and thinking, I don't even know you, but I'm willing to stand in front of a gunman and protect you because of the responsibility I felt in that role. Okay? So you take it very seriously, the responsibility level of the role that you're stepping into. And if it's a leader, you have to understand that there's a commitment on your part. And I think of that fondly because many people have wondered why I became a senior leader in the Tony community. So, when I followed the Tony Robbins path into Master University and then into leadership mastery, I didn't know that I wanted to be a leader. I wanted to learn more about being a leader. And one of the things that happened when I introduced myself into the Tony world is I had previously been a lifelong learner, taking in all of this stuff. I'd read stuff, I'd go to classes, seminars, everything I could find, conferences, notebooks, beyond compare. And I wasn't applying any of it. And Tony opened my eyes to that. I had a new awareness about implementation after not only seeing listening to what he teaches, but recognizing that after almost 50 years, this man has been doing this work. He isn't just talking. He is doing the things that he says change your life. Like, how cool is that? So I got this huge awareness about implementation. And I don't know what it is. It's like I missed the memo at some point in my life that you're not just supposed to read the book and put it back on the shelf and be like, check, I read the book. No, you were supposed to read the book and implement even the tiniest thing from it would change your life. But instead, I was like, oh, I have the knowledge. Oh, I have the knowledge. But I wasn't acting on it. I had shelf development, which is not something you want to work towards. And this caused self-esteem issues, worry over how I looked to other people. That's how the leader I was before was. I was so worried about the external vision of me or version of me. And it really blocked me from getting the fullness of the information because I was so worried about how I looked to other people. I couldn't take it in and do anything with it. So that all changed, not just in the Tony world, but now as I'm living my life and doing my things. Many of you know I have started breathwork, and the breathwork practice I call all-in breathwork. And it's about leaning in, not just playing full out in every area of your life, but also committing to finding a better way in all the things. So when I look at leadership and I think about, what type of leader am I committed to being? What type of leader are you committed to being? These are better questions. Ask better questions. You'll get better answers. The reality is we're all leaders in our heart. We all know that thing that we're meant to do is going to require us to be a leader, to step into things that we haven't experienced yet. And it's okay. It's okay to feel a little trepidatious about it, to have that little bit of uncomfortableness in your chest. But if you're committed with a big enough why and a purpose, I remember an exercise I did, 25 years ago. And it was the Purpose-Filled Life. There was a book and a journal, and we did a study in our church. And I remember really kind of testing, will I find my purpose? Will I find my purpose? And it was like a 6-week course, and we happened to be moving. So we were moving, like as soon as the class ended, we were moving. And I didn't just attend the class. I was the host for the Bible study in my house. And so each week we were getting closer and closer, and I didn't know my purpose, and I didn't know my purpose, and I didn't know my purpose. And we got to last week and I was like, this doesn't work. And then I got my purpose. It was just like, it just filtered in and I went, oh. So my purpose is a catalyst for change. And I actually was kind of irritated when I heard it. I was like, no, that's not what I want to be. I want to be something better than this. Why does it matter if I help people change? Well, I didn't understand coaching at the time. I didn't understand that that would be an area in my life that I could actually do something with. But the reality is, I'm a change agent. I'm a catalyst for change. And you know what change is? Nobody likes change, but change is growth. You know, that bush, it's not changing, it's growing and getting bigger and being able to blossom and being able to become a tree someday if it's meant to be. It's all in how you look at it, you guys. It's all in how you choose to be the leader in your own life. So, question. What type of leader are you committed to being? Go ahead and put it in the comments. Love to know more about your insights from this discussion and to find out if I can help you in any way. So if I can, please reach out, ask a question, see what I can do to support you. I do have some openings this week for one-on-ones, and the initial one is free. We just get a chance to talk and find out what's going on in your life. So if that can be of benefit to anybody, please let me know. Would love to hear from you and find out what kind of a leader you're committed to being. You take care. Have a great week. Remember, it's almost the end of July. So if you've got big goals brewing for this month, you have 11 days to meet those goals. Don't give up.